Happy Friday, Internet. You've been really busy this week. Congratulations. It's that time once again. Give me 5 minutes and I'll tell you the most important stories of the week from around the world. This is The Loop. It was revealed this week that the Russian language version of Siri, the voice-controlled assistant on Apple's iOS platform, is oddly homophobic. The allegation started this week stemming from a YouTube video posted by a Russian man named Alex, who asked Siri a series of questions like, are there any gay bars around me? How do I register a gay marriage in England? And is gay marriage normal? Siri's Russian answers were, I would have turned red if I could, I will pretend I haven't heard you, and I believe this emotion should be considered negative. This is glaringly odd, as it's the only edition of Siri that takes this position. Now, Russia has a long history of persecution against the LGBTQ community, including 2013 laws that prohibit promotion of homosexuality. But Apple CEO Tim Cook is openly gay. What drove this design decision? Apple refuses to comment on the video, only spurring further speculation on why this is happening. In France this week, lawmakers are currently debating a radical anti-terrorism bill that, if passed, would greatly expand and strengthen French surveillance capability. It's described as a vital piece of the fight against terrorism by the bill's backers, but French internet companies and privacy advocates fear that it could harm business and civil liberties of citizens. The law would allow the French government to monitor phone calls and emails of suspected terrorists and anyone they contact without authorization from a judge. They could also plant cameras and bugs in suspects' homes. The bill has strong support on both sides of the aisle, but critics are calling it the French Patriot Act, and that's been working out real great for us here in the US. According to Italian police, Muslim immigrants traveling by boat from Libya to Italy threw 12 of their fellow passengers overboard because they were Christians. All 12 citizens of Nigeria and Ghana died in the water. The authorities have arrested 15 suspects from the boat. The alleged assailants are Muslims from Senegal, Mali, and the Ivory Coast. Other passengers claimed that they were only spared because they formed a human chain to oppose the drownings. The boat was intercepted by members of the Italian Navy, who transferred the remaining passengers to a Panamanian ship which docked in Palermo this past Wednesday. Islamic aggression against Christianity is also reflected in Iraq this week, where ISIS has released photographs of its operatives desecrating and destroying Christian gravestones with sledgehammers. In a statement meant to justify the mass destruction, the Islamic State claimed that gravestones above the ground meant that the dead person was closer to Allah than the living, so that they must be destroyed and any images on the graves must be erased. Today, ISIS claimed responsibility for a suicide car bombing near the US consulate in Erbil, the capital of Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan regional government. The consulate was indeed their target, and the bomb killed at least 2 people and left 5 others injured. No one from the consulate was harmed in the attack. In Africa, an unknown disease deemed worse than Ebola has broken out in the Ondo state of Nigeria. As of yesterday, the disease has claimed 27 lives. It causes blindness and abnormal swelling of the tongue, followed by death within mere hours. Many in the community believe that the ailment was an evil spiritual attack caused by the recent desecration of a local shrine. At this time, the health commissioner has disclosed that investigations have begun into the cause and source of this brewing epidemic, and blood samples have been taken to a laboratory in Lagos for tests. And in Johannesburg, South Africa, there is chaos in the streets stemming from ongoing conflicts between anti-immigration protesters and gangs of foreign nationals. The violent protesters are outraged by the foreigners in their midst during a time of peak unemployment and have lashed out in xenophobic fury, causing the immigrants to arm themselves with machetes and axes. At least 5 people have died so far in the conflict, and police have taken to the streets using rubber bullets and stun grenades to subdue violent offenders. In Cape Town Thursday, President Zuma condemned the violence. There is no end in sight, but the governments of Malawi and Zimbabwe have pledged to do what they can to repatriate citizens affected by the attack. In New York State this week, thousands of families said no to standardized testing in schools, boycotting statewide language arts exams that began on Tuesday. Last year, 60,000 students opted out of the test, and this year, that number may have ballooned to over 300,000 students. Teachers have long complained that they are forced to teach to the test to keep their jobs, as tests like these affect government funding for public schools. It remains to be seen if these boycotts will cause reform. And finally, what was popular in media this week? In music, All Time Low's new album Future Hearts debuted at an all-time high on the Billboard 200 at number 2, while Wiz Khalifa's See You Again climbed to number 1 on the singles charts. On the iTunes TV charts, Scandal once again claimed the top spot for most downloaded episode, while Million Dollar Listing New York, last season of Game of Thrones, and the PBS masterpiece drama Wolf Hall climbed to the top of the season charts. And at the box office, Furious 7 took home a healthy $60 million gross in its second week of release. And that's all you need to know about your world this week. So, when you're ordering your Starbucks this weekend, tell them that your name is Informed Citizen, because until next Friday, you're in the loop. I'm Matt Lieberman. Thanks for watching.